Hey, how you doing? David Taub here, co-creator nextlevelguitar.com. Hope all's going well, and I hope your guitar and musical journeys are going famously. I don't have a guitar in my hands today. It's so weird. I feel so naked. I just wanted to do a little reactionary video to an article that was published in the New York Times yesterday, September 8th, that was titled, "Guitars Are Back, Baby." This was written by Alex Williams, and it's all kind of based off, is the electric guitar dead? You remember back in 2017, the Washington Post published an article by Jeff Edgers. The article was titled "The Slow Secret Death of the Six-String Electric," right? And this article created a firestorm in the community, right? I mean, people were fired up. One of the things I love about, guitar and music is so people are passionate about it, right? A lot of passion, and people really got fired up, and Jeff received a lot of blowback from that article. And while I don't agree with everything that he wrote, we had a discussion about it. And I think a lot of people got some things wrong when they made videos, right? Because there was a ton of videos made by my colleagues all over the internet. Teachers and musicians were posting all kinds of videos about, is the guitar dead, and what's up with this, and this is wrong, and this is not wrong, and this is right, and this is where we are, and blah blah blah. Oh, there's mine, right? There's my video. And I actually got a few things wrong in the video too, which I found out. The interesting thing is Jeff, actually the author of that article, Jeff Edgers, contacted me. He said he saw my video and, hey, he wanted to mention a few things. Super nice guy. So there was a lot of things I learned, and then I was like, well, let's make a video of a follow-up, and we'll post that. So I actually made a follow-up video where Jeff, explained some of the points he was making and some of the misconceptions. And I'll put links to all of that in the YouTube description box. I'll put links to the original Washington Post article. I'll put links to the video I did, my reactionary video to that, as well as the follow-up interview with Jeff. It's a really good watch, so check those out. If you could do me a big favor, please subscribe to the channel. That really helps us to keep bringing the content, as well as then you'll be notified till we have new lessons up. Leave your comments below, because I'd really love to hear what you have to think about these topics, right? About this resurgence of guitars, guitar dead, everything like that, right? Leave your comments below. We'll get some dialogue going. And if you like the video, please click the like button, give it a thumbs up, share it, and thank you so much for your support. So I assume this article that just came up, "Guitars Are Back, Baby," it's going to create like another mini firestorm. And in the article, Alex Williams talks about things like, how the pandemic, the COVID pandemic, has caused this bump in sales of guitars and video views. And he goes on in the article talking about, the Gibson company, and talking about, Talk to Sweetwater and retail sellers and even YouTube teachers. He talks about how guitar is back and why he feels that way. And my whole thing is, were guitars really ever gone? You know what I mean? Yes, maybe the sales did go down, but there's just too many people that are passionate about the instrument and that play, and that, the guitar just isn't going to die and wither away. That just is not going to happen. While sales will certainly ebb and flow, and and while music that's currently charting is going to change, from the guitar driven stuff of the 70s and 80s to today, the music that's charting, not so much guitar-oriented music. What's charting today? Hip-hop, EDM, vocal-oriented stuff, right? Forget about guitar solos, because they're really not in a lot of that type of music, and a lot of that music doesn't even have guitar in it, period. That doesn't necessarily mean that the electric guitar is just going to disappear and burn and end up in a pile of ashes. And he also mentions about guitar heroes and guitar gods in this article. And one of the things I think that is really important, that I think a lot of people kind of aren't getting right, is this concept of what is a guitar hero. And that's kind of what's kind of propping up a lot of their arguments, when really I think what everyone needs to understand is that there's multiple definitions for what a guitar hero is, all right? And this is super important. If you ask someone in the music industry, as far as guitar players, teachers, right, musicians, ask them what a guitar hero is, and most, I think, would say, and probably I would say too, is that a guitar hero is somehow equated with a high level of virtuosity, right? Or revolutionary, right? A total revolutionary on guitar, doing something totally different, going in a totally different direction. Someone with insane skills, just crazy good, right? That's more of the definition that we would say. But if you talk to someone in the guitar making industry, or retailers or sellers, of guitars, they have a total different definition of what a guitar hero is. Their definition is they would use it more as a marketing term. They would say that a guitar hero is a player who would inspire someone to go out and buy a guitar, right? More like almost like a marketing term. So using that definition, you could say that someone like Taylor Swift is a guitar hero, right? And that, when they did that, that sent a firestorm again through the guitar community. Again, people are very passionate, and people are passionate about their guitar heroes, right? Their guitar gods, and they worship them. And to say that Taylor Swift is this was, diametrically opposed to all their beliefs, and everyone kind of blew up about that. But if you really think about it, Taylor Swift and her music is certainly not my cup of tea, but I gotta say that she did inspire a lot of people, especially women, to go out and buy acoustic guitars. Tremendous bump in sales on acoustic guitars. And me, what I always say is guitar is something that can bring you joy the rest of your life, the joy of playing and creating music. So I think that's very cool. And again, say what you want about her music, but it's very cool that she was inspiring people to play guitar. That would fit that definition of guitar hero, not necessarily this other definition like we would define guitar hero. And I think that the gentleman who wrote this article in the New York Times, he kind of didn't get that definition of guitar hero, because he talks about guitar hero and then he says, maybe the guitar gods are dead, but they did their job, like at the end of the article, quote, something like that. And I don't think that's right at all. I don't think the guitar god will ever die, because people are so passionate that play, and people hold their guitar heroes, these people who play, musicians, guitarists, teachers, in the highest regard, and worship them, and so to speak. So that passion, I don't think, will ever go away. Another thing I think that from the original article that this caused this whole firestorm that a lot of people kind of didn't get right was, I don't think Jeff Edgers from the Washington Post was saying that the guitar was going to totally be eliminated from the planet. First of all, a lot of people were saying, like, Jeff, the guy who wrote that article, he doesn't even play guitar. That's not true. He does play guitar. I'm not defending anybody per se. I'm just trying to get out there from my conversation with Jeff, right? So not only does he play guitar, he wrote that article from a standpoint that as a guitar player, he was like, man, why is it that this instrument, this guitar, which has been just a cultural icon from like the 50s, now seems to be not held in that same regard? What's going on? And that's kind of was the nexus for writing that article. And I don't think he was saying that, well, in 200 years, people are going to be taking their kids to a museum and they're going to be like looking at these weird wooden shaped things with 6 strings and 7 strings on them and being like reading the little thing saying, oh, this is a famous instrument in the 20th century called a guitar. Look at that odd shit. No, I don't think he was saying that either, that the guitar was going to be totally dead, but he was wondering why was there this decline. So the other thing too is these articles go on to talk about how the sales were declining, and in both articles, and Alex in the New York Times talked about that too. But again, and they didn't take into account the used market, which is, and I mentioned this in my previous video too, which is so strong, right? Reverb, eBay, the amount of guitars on there and the sales going on through those sites is just staggering. So when they're talking about sales of guitars, they're only talking about the new guitars. And oftentimes even those numbers aren't reported, I don't think, with the most accuracy, because if you ask companies like Fender, you'll never get like really solid numbers. Oh, our sales are 10% less than last year, or 15%. Well, what were your numbers last year? Well, those numbers were a percentage. You know what I mean? You'll never get the exact answers. So while sales may have been declining in the past, I don't think it's going to as far depth as they were making it out to be. And in the article in the New York Times, Alex talks about how, which is true, how, not just guitars during a pandemic have received a bump, but in a pandemic, so many things have experienced a bounce in sales, right? Bicycles, skateboards, right? Yoga mats, beans, right? Try to get a can of beans during a pandemic, toilet paper, right? Essential items, of course, but even things like alcohol, right, have experienced a bump. All these things have experienced a bump. But I think for the most part, though, guitar is a little bit different, and we really need to differentiate that. And I think that's really important when discussing these arguments, as well as a lot of people are home, right? And so they want productive things to do, and they're watching video. And he talks about how, videos have seen, and I've seen that too, the bump in views, right? Because people are home. Certainly more during the shutdown, and now it's starting to wane again because people are going back to work. But big explosion in views, and that's pretty much industry wide. Sales going up. People want to learn guitar. They have the time now, they feel, right? They want to do something productive now that they're home. They have more time on their hand. But I think the difference with guitar than those other things, many of those other things, is two things. One of them is, first of all, guitar is a pretty big investment financially, right? It doesn't cost like a can of beans, right? I mean, you're going to pay hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars for a guitar or amp and effects or whatever. The other thing is the investment in a skill. So it's going to take tremendous amount of time. It's not just something that you buy and you experience and you enjoy it. You have to learn how to play or move your playing to the next level or get proficient on the guitar. So this is a conscious choice that people make out of the passion that they have for music, the passion about guitar, the passion to want to learn how to play, or I've always wanted to play it, I just need the time, and now I just don't have that excuse that I don't have the time anymore. So again, this is about the passion and why, in my opinion, the guitar will never die. I mean, it's just people love music. Everybody loves some type of music on this planet, right? No matter where you're from, no matter what, everybody loves some kind of music. And in the article, he also talks about Gibson guitars and their ups and downs and how they, basically had to declare bankruptcy in 2018. But I don't think using the Gibson company in these types of examples, as far as to seeing why a guitar, the death of the guitar, or why guitar, I don't think that's a good example to use, because the Gibson company has been plagued with issues for years, right? But before all of this, even, they've had issues with, quality control and pricing. They've had issues with, then they had the issues for a long time because they've got away from making guitar their number one thing. They got into consumer electronics and audio products, right? They've had issues with their CEO. In fact, their past CEO, not the current one now, the past guy, I forget his name, but he even went online once and talked about, he blamed the retailers for the Gibson drop in sales. Can you imagine that? Blaming your retailers. That is not a leader. I'm sorry, but it's not. That's the kind of leader who'd be like, if things were good and they were doing well, that he would take all the credit. Yes, it's us, it's Gibson, yes. But when things are bad, no, it's not us, somebody else, right? That's not a leader. A leader is someone who takes the good and the bad. And if it's bad, you stand up and the captain goes down with the ship. I'm sorry, but you can't blame your retailers, right? So there was issues with that. Gibson got a new CEO, and then they put out that horrific Play Authentic video. I don't know if you saw that video. They've since have taken it down, but just awful, just a total wrong message. I don't know how that video got by a bunch of people sitting around in some type of meeting, right? Everyone, yeah, put that video out. Great. I mean, it's just a total wrong message. If you haven't seen it, I'm sure there's still copies of it around. You could watch it. But to their credit, the new CEO, they pulled it down, and because they got such a shitstorm from it, and he even said, we shouldn't have done that, and he kind of apologized and took the blame for it. That's more of a leader, right? You're the leader during the good and the bad, and it falls on you if you're the CEO, right? So at least he took responsibility for that. But the Gibson company has been plagued with these issues, and hopefully now with the restructuring through the bankruptcy, now the bump in sales, hopefully they're back on track, and they seem to be lately more focused on more of what they're good at, right? Of the guitar, not all this other stuff. So using Gibson for these examples about guitar death or guitars bad, probably not the best model. These are just my thoughts and opinions, and I want to hear yours. So make sure you put your thoughts and opinions and your feedback and insights below. Write them down and let's talk about it. Because in my opinion, the guitar being back, I don't think it ever really went anywhere. Sales may have been going down, yes. Not as prominent in music today as in the past, yes. But it's not going anywhere. And when you're watching these reactionary videos, because I'm sure there's going to be tons of them coming out, keep in mind again about this Guitar Hero definition, because there really are two of them. The definitions. Which one's right? I think they both are. It's all a matter of how you're using the term and how you define it. right? So you have to be careful when you hear that Guitar Hero term being slung around. The guitar is not going anywhere. Please put your thoughts below. I would love to hear from you. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel. That really helps us to keep bringing the content. Then you'll be alerted to when we have new videos up. Click below. Also, I'll put some links there to some free video lessons and also some other links for you to check out. My new record is available now, my original band Mind Cell. You can check that out below. Check out some of the other videos on the channel. I got lots more lessons coming up. Thank you so much for your support over the years and years. So appreciated. Take care. Keep having fun with those guitars. And remember, your guitar playing is an evolution. Take care and rock on.